Okay, everybody. Hi there.
Hello.
Hey, it's Sally
And Laura.
and Laura, and we're here at Elkhorn Sewing Vac, and it's Thursday, so we must be rambling.
Yep.
And hopefully we're not going to have any problems with things.
I'm not touching a computer.
Last
For those of you that were here last night, you'll understand that.
night the computer just kept on.
I had problems with my computer,
Then she was using Jimmy's computer, and
and I
it
had
didn't want to
problems
work
with
either.
that one. And
Anyway.
then Sally wasn't sure if she wanted me to touch her computer.
I was afraid to
'cause
let her touch my computer. So anyway.
Fortunately, it was bulletproof.
So now maybe today it's not going to be. But anyway, so let's see. First of all, let's talk about yesterday. Viking came out with this. It's called a wonky texture quilt. So probably we should either go to camera 3 or camera 1.
Here.
Yeah. So I either need to turn.
Well, I can turn it around.
Okay, there we go.
Okay. So it's a wonky texture quilt.
So
And you can
Michael thought that it might be fun for us to do this quilt. So I don't know what you think about it.
You mean like a class?
Like a class, or
Sure.
I don't know. So if you want, we could talk about it.
Well,
So it's kind of interesting. I don't know that I'm particularly too keen on the colors, so I would probably be happier if I was making it and it weren't all those colors. But it's a way to. So you guys could chime in. We could probably do. It might be fun to do it as a Zoom. We might do it. Might want to Zoom it, possibly. But you use a lot of feet, so take a look at it.
Oh, I was looking at it earlier, and it has, first of all, it's got all kinds of different things you can use as texture in the quilt.
So,
But the interesting thing is each lesson you're using several different feet to accomplish a different goal,
so you're using different feet, so you get to
Yeah.
practice with. You use your different feet.
right?
You use now. If you look forward, like look at the first. I didn't print all the blocks, but so that's
this block.
that's the that's like the map, I think,
Yeah.
of the quilt. So then if you go
okay,
forward,
gotcha.
then we have the first block. So it uses
So
different
session
stitches.
Session 2 uses the 7-hole cording foot, the binding foot, and the narrow braid cording foot. That's how they came up with these, I guess. I had glasses, I could see that. Oh yeah. Actually, that's kind of cool.
And then you also might use different menus. Like in your, does it say which machine that we're supposed to be using?
Let me see.
Go back to the beginning.
Okay. Alright, so this is the beginning. The quilt is approximately 52 by 72 with 24 techniques blocks. It looks like it's going for the designer Epic.
But we might also use, it doesn't say you have to use it on the Epic though.
No, but I think some of the stitch menus might just be specific to that machine, but you may be able to find them on other machines as well, or find comparable stitches.
So we probably could use it on the
Fabric, thread, nap. Important. If you are sewing on the Husqvarna Viking Designer Epic or Epic 2, you need to be sure to bring your stitch width from 9 to 7 with the feet we will be using today. Otherwise, you will break a needle. So they are
Sewing on different, so we can use, so
Yeah.
it doesn't have to, so it could be the Ruby or one of those machines. So, but it gets you to learn the different stitch menus and different stitches.
Yeah.
So it might be kind of fun to do.
Yeah.
We just might be a little challenged from going from one machine to the other, helping people find where. And then there's a circular attachment there on that. See
Yeah, there's
the
circles
menu.
here.
See, there's a stitch menus there.
Oh, right.
And the 3-hole yarn foot.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh, and this is a good one.
so it seems like it
And the
might.
ribbon feet. I think this would be a really good opportunity to figure out, gee, I have all these feet, what do I do with them?
Right, and
And
to practice
now
using
you
your
can make-
machine.
Right.
And it's kind of like a sample quilt or a mystery quilt. So you guys could chime in.
Chime in.
You could charm in too if you like. If you,
Yeah.
if you prefer to be charming. And let us know what you think about.
It's a techniques quilt.
Correct. So would you rather us do it where I think you should pick your own fabrics rather than us pick fabrics, probably.
Yeah. I mean,
Because everybody has such different taste.
right. And I'm with you. I don't particularly care for the
I'm not
fabrics that are
into
there. But I could see that with navies and
I could
limes
think it might be fun
and
and-
turquoise and purple.
Yeah.
You
I don't know what I might.
Or just make it scrappy. Make each
Yeah,
block a little bit different.
whatever you feel like,
Yeah.
whatever you're feeling. So, I don't know if we would do it every other week, or
Yeah.
I think if we
probably would
went
be
once
good.
a month, it might be too far apart.
And I think every week might be a little too much.
That's what I'm thinking. Thinking every other week,
Yeah.
maybe during the week, possibly on a Thursday, maybe, or a different day.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
All right, so chime in, make a note in the comments if you guys think you might be interested in doing that, and we'll set it up and see if people might be interested. We can start out and see what we get. Okay.
Sounds like fun.
All right. So
All right.
the next thing that came up today that we were talking with somebody about is
I'll go to the other camera.
cutting
Very long.
very long pieces of fabric.
Let me get.
So it's hard to cut a long piece of fabric straight,
Well-
like 6 yards or 7 yards.
This woman was.
Why
What
wouldn't-
she does, she's a doula, and she makes belly wraps for postpartum women. So after they've given birth, she helps cinch everything back up to where it was before you were pregnant, and that kind of thing. She was explaining it all to me. It sounds quite lovely. And what she does is she takes a single strip of fabric that is 9 to 11 inches wide by 12 yards long, one single piece. And she does this wrap that helps support and heal the body. So what she had done is she had gone to Joann's and bought muslin and then cut it into 12-inch segments. And she was dissatisfied because it was raveling a lot on the edges. Well, the reason it was raveling is because it wasn't cut on grain. Whenever you have very long sections of fabric, even 108-inch wide back quilt backing, it's always best to tear the fabric rather
Well,
than
we
cut it.
tear our wide backs. We
Yeah.
don't cut them
Right.
because you can't cut it straight.
Right.
It doesn't cut. You can't cut on the grain on a long piece of fabric,
No,
so
you
we
can't.
tear it.
Right. And so just to show you, this is the sample that we tore off of the little 12-inch piece she had. This was one end, and mind you, she cut this with scissors. Okay, we're gonna go for 12 yards, and when we get to the other end, you can see it's much larger, and it just keeps growing. So by the time I get to the end, anyway, it was, when you measured the ends, one end was 11 inches and the other end was 12 inches, which isn't terrible. But if it were cut perfectly straight, you could rip it down and make both ends match. If you're cutting on a slight parallelogram, when you rip the fabric, it's going to cut true to the grain, either straight of grain or cross grain, whichever way you're tearing. So you need to make sure that you start with the small end and tear down towards the wider end, because if you go the other way around, you're obviously going to hit an area where you're going to run off the edge of the fabric. Then you've got to recut it again. This is confusing, isn't it?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
But anyway, so if you're cutting a long piece of fabric,
If you need a long piece of fabric sized, we'll say that. Because see, look at the difference between one end and this is the middle. It gets bigger, but that's quite a bit.
well, I've had that
Big
happen.
difference.
I've had that happen with the. Well, sometimes you can't do. You don't want to do it that because you can ruin. I mean, you can run out. You can end up not having enough fabric because the piece of fabric's not cut straight.
Right.
Just start out.
Right.
All right.
So if you're ever buying a wide quilt back from somebody other than us who doesn't tear their backing, if you take it to the cutting table and they bring out the rotary cutter because they're going to cut that fabric, tell them to stop. Demand that they tear it instead. Pay for the extra inch of fabric if you need to, but it's worth it because you'll have a true square piece of fabric rather than a parallelogram. Trust me.
And then if you're worried about
quilter will appreciate it.
the waviness of that end, you can, if you
Just
wash
press
it,
it.
or press it, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Anyway, now the other thing we were discussing is why do you, so when you're sewing half square triangles,
Mm-hmm.
some people sew down the center of the half square triangle
Mm-hmm.
diagonally. Well, if you don't sew down the diagonal on the triangle, then it's not going to be a
Okay.
well, it's not going to be a triangle. If you
I'm
don't
gonna
sound
use this.
okay.
So this is our square,
right,
and we're attaching it to something else,
right,
like so.
right,
And most instructions will tell you to sew diagonally from one corner to the other, and then trim away a 1/4 inch away and throw this part away.
right.
So you end up wasting
Right.
a lot.
But I just meant if you sewed it straight across, it wouldn't be a triangle. That's all I meant.
Oh, yeah. Like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
no longer a triangle.
Right.
A
That's
square
true. That's rectangles.
or a rectangle.
Yeah.
Those would be half rectangles.
Now, I have seen some patterns that assume I have 2 squares. This isn't plugged in, so I can do this. We're assuming these are squares. We're pretending. And you put them together.
Those probably are squares.
Well, yeah, that's true. They
They're
probably
kind of
are.
square.
Okay. I meant, squares of
Yeah.
fabric.
Okay.
That you would take and draw your line from corner to corner, and then stitch a 1/4 inch away on each side, and then cut on your drawn line
Down the middle.
down the middle. So then you press it open and you
Yeah.
have 2 half square triangles. No waste.
They're squares of fabric that are with 2 triangles. Those are called half square triangles, in case for people who don't know
Oh,
that.
that's true. So Sally got the question, well, what if
Well-
if the pattern calls...
Well, I
Okay,
I didn't. I have the question is, why is it that some people sew down the middle? I always sew on either side and cut them. But it's true that sometimes it's the pattern says
Right.
to do it one way or another. So then I was deducing that it's probably that it's complicated mathematically because you have a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So if you want a, say, triangle with a 2-inch side, and you want to add a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and you're trying to figure out what size square to make that, and you want to know how, if you were sewing down the diagonal, how many, what size square would you need to make that to sew a 1/4 inch from each side of the diagonal in the middle and end up with 2 squares with 2-inch that are 2-inch finished squares. That is a little bit of a complicated mathematical decision
Right.
because it is not easy.
Well, and I was thinking because there's
Because you have
the
to
guide
do a
rulers or ruler
quarter.
guides or whatever to go the square you would use. Now this is for the sew down the center and cut away. The half square triangle ruler, your square is
Well, that's
is it 5/8 of an inch bigger?
No, it's simple. I mean, it's simple if you're going to sew down the middle and you want a 2-inch, and you want a 2-inch finished square, then that's a 2.5. That's going to be two.
It's different because of that angle. I would agree with you that okay, this is going to be a 1/4 inch away, so that's a 1/2 inch.
Oh
But
no!
then for some reason,
Well, not
this
not when there's a
doesn't add
1/4
up
inch.
to-
If you're sewing down straight down the middle,
yeah,
and you
this
want a
one.
2-inch side,
Yeah.
then it's just going to be a 2-inch square. You just
No. Oh yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you're sewing.
But now, if you're
here,
doing it from the
Okay.
side, from the
a 1/4 inch
squared
away
for
from
away,
the center.
then you have to do a squared plus b squared, which equals c squared, which is 0.25 squared plus 2.25 squared, and that's complicated.
Well, but that just gives you the hypotenuse. We don't want the hypotenuse. We want one of the sides.
No,
So-
that gives you. You need to know.
You need to know what either a squared or b. You need to know what a or b is. Because a squared and b squared are the legs,
This gets me.
and c squared is the hypotenuse, the diagonal
Hold
line.
on to your thoughts for a second. So this is 1/4. And this is 1/4. 0.25. 25. This is what we don't know. And we do know this.
Oh,
So you
right.
know this, and this is 0.25 squared. This is 0.25 squared, and this is something squared.
Now, why are you only doing the seam allowance? You're just calculating what you have to
This
add?
this is the extra length of this
Of the
length of a
triangle.
square. So I would know. So that would tell me how big a square I would need.
Okay, I'm confused because you're determining the size of the square by the
determining the type.
diagonal line?
No, this is the side of the square. Okay, so if you are adding a 1/4 inch to, so it's actually a 1/2 inch in the middle, but so you have a seam here, so you're adding a 1/4 inch here. So you need to know how long this is.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a 1/4 inch.
At a 90-degree angle.
Well, yeah.
And that's where the math comes in.
The math comes in, so the math isn't super complicated, but the math is not in whole numbers. So you have,
You may need to change cameras so people can see what we're doing.
my back sore.
Let's move
Long
it back
way.
here so it's closer to you, so you don't end up hurting your back. Well, that's gonna put it over here, where the camera is right now. I'll move that.
Where are we? Okay.
Okay.
All right. So this is your square, and you have a diagonal across here.
There. That's
Okay.
there.
So that's your square, and you have a diagonal across here. I'm a terrible drawer. And your seam allowance here is a 1/4 inch,
Mm-hmm.
0.25.
Right.
And you need to know how much longer this length is.
Correct.
And this,
Because you can't assume that if this is your, I'm gonna make this a bigger seam allowance. If this is your seam allowance, right here, say that's your 1/4 inch, this is not a 1/4 inch.
no, it's absolutely not a 1/4 inch.
Right. Well, that's what I
That
need people to
is-
understand.
No. So that is not a 1/4 inch. That is
That's the hypotenuse,
the
that's what you were getting
hypotenuse.
at.
Correct.
Okay.
So this is a 1/4 inch.
Mm-hmm.
This is a squared plus b squared equals c squared.
Mm-hmm. So we could
This-
do that.
Well, not necessarily.
Well, that just tells you how much you have to add here.
Correct.
And I believe it's either 5/8 or 7/8. I don't remember what the
Well,
formula
that's
was.
roughly. And then you're going to have to trim them down probably. But anyway, it's roughly. Because, this is a 45-degree angle. And I don't think this is the same length.
It would have to be. Because if that's a 90-degree angle, which is what we want in order to do this Pythagorean theorem, this length has to be the same as that. So this is 0.25 and that's 0.25.
That does not have to be the same length.
It does if you have a 90-degree angle.
No, it does not. 45, 90, and that could be a different angle.
Oh, you're right. They could be different lengths.
Correct.
Yeah, the 3, 4, 5
So-
thing.
You can use the cosine to calculate it. Does anyone want to do that?
No.
Not really. So, anyway, I have a way to do it easily. I think on the memento,
You were saying it's a no math method.
a no math method.
Love the no math method.
So if this is in fact a 1/4 inch, this would be a 1/4 inch squared plus a 1/4 inch squared equals the square root of this plus this. But I don't think that this is the same length. Because I don't think this is a, no, I don't think these are the same length.
Okay.
You see, so anyway, so you see it's complicated, so I think that the reason that most people do it before you sew down the middle is it makes it easier.
So I'm pretending I'm going to borrow a piece of paper. I'll borrow your piece of paper.
All right, here's my piece of paper.
Okay. Oh, look, I don't have to, because here I have a 45-degree
Right.
line.
Mhm.
Okay. So here's my square. I'm going to
Okay.
use this 2-inch square.
All
Am I
right.
on camera? Kind of barely. All right. 2-inch square right
Okay.
here. See the 45-degree
Mhm.
line? It's cutting that in half.
All right,
So that's the center of my 2-inch square.
correct.
I'm sewing a 1/4 inch away from that.
Correct.
I can take, I don't have a ruler. I do have a ruler, I just
Here's
have to go up
one.
and get it. Okay. So I can take a 1/4 inch away from that. Glasses. Line that up. And I'm right here, so I am 3/8 away instead of a 1/4 inch away, but it's not a perfect 3/8.
Correct.
It's kind of close to
off.
3/8.
Right. That's why
You're
if you're doing that, you
rounding a
end up
little
having
bit.
to trim it.
Yeah,
See,
you're rounding.
that's why my
a
other
smidge.
idea is better.
Okay, but I like this better than the trying to figure out the math. But it's not perfect. This just gives you a close
That's
enough.
why you have to trim. That's why you end up having to trim the squares if you do
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you do it the other way. So I think that's why people waste the fabric and sew down the middle and trim them off, is because then you don't have to worry about it and you don't have to trim your squares. So, which is better, wasting the fabric off there and just cutting them off and not having to trim your squares, or
You know I hate wasting fabric.
I know.
So I would prefer to find a way not to waste
Have to
fabric.
waste their fabric.
Like,
So if my
what we're
ideal
doing-
works,
Yeah.
we might not have to.
Okay. So in a future episode, we'll come back. Oh, we need to change the camera again. So in a future episode, Sally's gonna work this out because she's got that brilliant mind to piece all this together, and we'll come back and we'll show you our no waste method for half square triangles.
You'll have to watch my YouTube video.
Oh, there we go. Even better. Okay.
All right. So
Now, the only time I would see where you would want to use the full square, sew directly across from point to point and cut off the excess, is like what we're going to be doing Saturday, where you're doing basically a snowball and you're putting a small square into a larger space and then you're cutting it off and folding it back,
okay,
you know.
yeah, that makes
Or you're
sense.
putting a square onto a rectangle to fill in that corner. But just to do half square triangles, why do they call them half square? Oh, I guess it is a half square triangle. Okay. Anyway, yeah, I don't think you need to waste fabric for that.
It seems like it's a bad idea,
Yeah.
but I don't know, because I'm a bad. I like trimming I trim a lot.
Yeah. Well, even with that sewing 1/4 inch away from the center, you could still make that oversized and trim it down if you needed to. I would have no problem with that. You know, I just don't like throwing away all those big pieces of fabric. But today I was working with 1-inch squares. I don't have a problem throwing away those tiny little pieces that come off. So I will throw away something.
That's funny. Gotta throw away something.
Yeah.
Gotta be something to throw away. Okay.
Actually, I watched a video. This lady was even more thrifty than I am. She even saved the threads that she cut off, her thread tails and stuff, and she kept them in a waste bin. She didn't put anything in there except those little trimmings from when she squared up blocks or cut off the half triangles that were tiny, tiny, or her thread tails. And then what she did is she took a piece of fusible web and she just dumped this basket on top of it and smooshed it all down over the whole thing with fusible web,
Yeah.
ironed it in place, and then she put organza over the top of it and just stitched it down, and then she made a purse or something out of it.
Well, that's crazy.
It was really kind of pretty.
That's
But
neat.
my scraps are not as coordinated as hers.
It'll be a big mess.
It would be a mess. And she wasn't real particular over whether it was face up or face down. It just had to cover everything. And instead of just putting one layer thick, it might have had 3 or 4 layers. And but they're tiny, tiny. She's just smushing them down so they adhere to the sticky stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was really interesting. It was clever.
Okay, well, it's a new year, so Sew Steady. We have our Sew Steady. What?
Oh, look at that! It's in the right spot.
Awesome. That was just your luck.
Yeah.
So we have the Sew Steady Club, and we have. Well, tell us about it. So we have a for January. There's a drawing.
Right. So we have this box, and it says "Enter to win," and it comes. There's a pad of entry sheets, and you come into the store, and you fill out an entry form, and you stick it in the box, and then we draw the box. We draw a winner
Right.
at the end of the
Right.
month.
So the drawing this month is for a light stick.
Yeah, and the light stick, there we go, I'll turn it around so you can see it. What the light stick does is you put it underneath your table and it acts as a light box. So you can trace things, you can see through items. It's really very clever. I love my light box.
And does it say that they use it for other things there underneath at the bottom of that? What does it say on that?
Let's see. Use underneath your Sew Steady table or insert to act as a light box. Great for tracing patterns. USB powered, approximately 12 by 1/2 inches, 12 inches by 1/2 inch, includes dimming feature.
And they're also on sale this month for 50% off. And
So
you
this
get if you buy a Sew Steady table, you can get a light stick for 50% off. So they're regularly $29.95.
and this is what it looks like. It's a light. And I don't have a table to attach it to, but I'm going to show you what it looks like. Can I do that?
Yeah, there's a
Is there a USB port down there? So it's USB powered, and a lot of the sewing machines
Is there a
now have
USB at the end of that?
port. I'm sorry?
is there one of these at the end of there?
There is not on this
Is
end.
there one on here?
Mm,
No.
there is not. I can bring my computer over.
Okay.
Because it's really nice and bright.
All right. So every other month, so March there'll be a drawing, May there'll be a drawing, and each of the months there is a different drawing because we are a club store. So we are Elevate, I think it's the name of the club. I have a hard time keeping track of these things, but that's what that is. So Laura's going to turn it on so you can get a chance to see what it looks like.
Okay, so I just plugged it into my computer. You can see it has a little USB-C down here at the bottom. Oh, me and my glasses. I just need to get new eyes, I think. Okay.
Well, and you can be creative and use it for whatever you want.
Right. So there we go. So
It gives you
That's nice and bright.
good amount of light.
and you can. It says it has a dimming feature, so that's off. That's on. I'm imagining that if you hold it, see, it's getting dimmer. And then if I press and hold again, it'll get brighter. And I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but there's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21 individual LEDs in this strip. So, and it's just a touch to turn it off and on. If you see the blue glow on the end, that means
it's
there's
plugged in.
power to it. Now, it's not something that has a battery, so in order to use it, it has to be plugged in, but really handy. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I have to drag out a light box to do something, and if you have the Sew Steady table already set up, this is easy. And it comes with mounting screws if you wanted to mount it to something. It doesn't come with a mounting bracket.
Yeah, it does.
It does? Okay. Oh, yes, it does. Here they are. Mounting brackets. So if you wanted to mount it permanently, you could do that. But it also comes with double sticky tape. The 3M double sticks. So you can put the double stick on the back here and then stick it to something. Now, I would just lay it underneath of my Sew Steady table and let the light shine
Yeah,
through.
probably, but there might be other places you might want to use it. So.
That's true. That's true.
All right, so
Lots of options.
come in and put your name in the drawing next time you're in. So can we put the calendar underneath there? So we can
Yes.
take a look at that. So Steady has a new subscription box, which we're participating in for embroidery, which is the embroidery, and then also ruler work. So we'll be trying to get you guys embroidering more and doing more ruler work on your quilts. So that's one of my goals in the new year, is to get some more quilting done. I do think you need to use a grid glider, because I noticed when I was using
Oh,
when
those
I
are
was
so nice.
well, I was quilting for my project on Sunday, and it was really dragging on the cabinet. So I should have pulled out my grid glider and used it,
I really like the grid
because
gliders.
it makes a big difference when it won't move.
And you know what I really like using them is when I'm working with vinyl,
Oh,
because I use the Teflon foot and
Uh-huh.
the grid glider, and the
And
vinyl
it's just
doesn't stick to the
that
machine, it
nice.
just floats. It's
Okay.
beautiful.
all right. Oh, I need to order this. Okay.
All right.
So you can, if you're interested in the boxes, you can come and talk to me. You can order the boxes through the store, or you can order them through Sew Steady. Of
Okay,
course,
can we
Go
talk
ahead.
about what's highlighted on the calendar?
yes, we can.
Because on Wednesday, every Wednesday, it says watch live. What are
They
they
have
watching live?
YouTube live education,
Oh,
and a lot of times those are super interesting projects.
wow.
So they really do a lot of work to put out stuff for you to watch, and not that you don't have to pay for.
That's
Now they have a
nice.
university with classes on them. Some of them cost money and some of them don't. With the subscription boxes, you get a lot of classes, that a lot of education and a lot of projects
Okay.
with the classes.
And then they have classes on Thursdays. It looks like the same series of classes from month to month, but probably different.
Right, and some of them
objectives.
are the ruler work box.
Right, here's
Right.
a ruler work class, here's a patchwork club class, another ruler work, and then embroidery on the fourth Thursday.
Right,
And that's embroidery.
right. That's the embroidery.
And
So
then-
and I've been trying to have people come into the store more for that. I had a couple of ladies in last Thursday. Was it only? I think it was.
It might have been.
And we had a lot of fun practicing with getting some stuff onto just a
It was
sample
last
project.
Thursday 'cause I was in the back.
Yeah.
That's right.
So we're going to be trying to maybe not necessarily, but they have a lot of projects designed, so hopefully I can use some of their projects, and we can, if you want to work on them, or we can just, I can show them to you.
Now, have you
Yes.
done these First Fridays with Pam? What is that?
I have not done it, so I don't know.
Okay.
I think it's it's more education.
It looks, based on the color coding, I would think it would be a YouTube thing because are they all YouTube, or are some of them?
Some of them are on the university.
Oh, okay.
Let me see if
Need
I
to
can
change
tell
the
from the
camera.
color. We'll go to
Let me turn this on.
oh, here we go. Let me see if I can tell from the color coding what the color coding means.
Okay.
Because I just opened this calendar, so I don't know.
So how does a person go about getting a calendar?
Well, okay. So the yellow ones are special offers. The orange, the watch lives, and the greens are virtual event classes.
So like a Zoom class? Virtual event?
I don't know for sure.
I'm not sure what that means.
So they might be something where they're probably things where like you would get a link from me to do the class, to watch the class.
Oh, gotcha.
Or you
okay.
have it from having the club. Like see the embroidery club class, ruler work club class. Those are if you have if you're box club.
Well,
if
tell
you're-
me about those box club things. What are they and how would I get involved?
They are, well, you would have to subscribe to a club box, and each their monthly, where you pay for a monthly subscription, and then quarterly they send you. Hold on a second. Wasn't prepared to give you this much information.
Okay.
Fine, you're
Sorry.
always doing this to me. Okay. Hold on a second.
I was asking leading questions so we can get it out there.
So they give you access to live and recorded educational content. And so there's a quarterly box that has, if it's
So a physical package.
physical package with practice panels, templates, tools, and bonus items, and then I'm gonna subscribe to a box. Same for the embroidery, same thing. It has embroidery focused projects, patterns. Like I'm gonna have time, so now I've got to do an embroidery pattern so that I can help you guys, and also the project. The projects for the first quarter in the ruler club are I told you what kind of quilt. Not courthouse.
Log cabin.
Log cabin.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and some of the new, I think some of the new embroidery designs look like they're going to be really nice. I'm really looking forward to practice playing with some of those. So
Good.
they're live and recorded education that you can watch on your own, and then I have access to also. I will have access to also, so that I can be able to help you if you have questions.
Nice.
So, as a club store, and you can cancel any time, and then, of course, there's new tools and stuff, which of course you're going to want.
Oh, of course.
Of course. But anyway, so that's my story that I have
Good.
at
That's
the
a good
moment.
story.
So, I would like to have a few people sign up for the box to the store.
Now,
Join me.
let's say that, like, we have a set number of boxes we've already ordered. What if somebody, okay, let's say, I'm just making up
Right,
numbers
okay,
now.
all right.
Let's say we ordered 5 boxes because we knew 5 people were interested. And 2 months later, somebody else goes, wow, my friends were telling me about that. Can I join?
Yeah, so we can add more people.
Okay, so they can join
Yeah.
anytime.
Yeah. they
Oh,
can.
excellent.
So I think it's, I was a little skeptical, I wasn't really sure about it, but I feel like it's going to be a good idea. And if they also have the for the ruler work part, if there's a pattern box, which is less expensive. So the ruler work boxes are $25 a month.
Okay.
And like I say, you get a box a quarter. So you don't get a box of stuff every month. Not like VP Club. But you could just get the patterns and not get the rulers.
But
That's 17. So that's $17.50 a month if you don't want to get the rulers included.
Okay.
So say you feel like you have plenty of rulers and you don't want more rulers, but you just
Oh.
want the education of the
So not in
patterns.
my world, but
So
okay.
If
it's a new toy, I want it.
Yeah, exactly. Not like you need it, but
I know.
not like I could find it when I need to use it.
Exactly.
So if you just want the education and the patterns and the encouragement to get learning to use your rulers that you have,
Mhm.
then that would be $17.50 a month.
Okay, that's nice.
So
Well, I
we can
mean,
do it that way too.
the academy that they have.
They have a lot of
There's a
education.
lot of stuff
it's
on
crazy
there.
how much education there is on there.
And it's really good.
Their
the classes
their
are very
classes
thorough.
are really thorough.
Yeah, they're very good. I've
So.
taken several of them and I've really enjoyed them. I haven't made anything with them yet because I want to finish
I need to finish my
something
Starry
before
Nights
I
quilt.
start. Yeah, I haven't even started mine.
I
You're
have.
way ahead of mine.
I've got 10 blocks done.
Wow.
Need to finish it.
I've got no blocks.
Oh,
Done.
anyway, well, there's the embroidery. You can just the embroidery design. Just buy that and do that.
I could do that. I could probably do
Yeah.
that better.
Might be likely to get it done. Well,
Yeah.
anyway, so that's our story for the day. We better stop because we've been going almost an hour.
Really?
Yes, we can talk. I tell you.
Yeah. It goes by
Well, it's
like
because
that
we're
when on
around
this side.
Jimmy too much. Because he could, if it was Jimmy, he'd have talked an hour and a half.
That's true. That's true.
All right,
His stories
he goes on
goes
and on.
on. Yeah.
He's from Texas, so there we go. All right, well, let us know your feedback on stuff, and if you think we should just bag it all and go home and hide in the corner, that's fine too. Because I'm good with
Oh, and if you just,
And-
I just want to throw this out there
What?
because I'm going to be needing a new computer. I'm interested in what do you have, and why do you like it, and if you wanted something better, what would it be? Because I've had my computer so long, I have no idea what's current. I don't know what's out there, so I'm looking for help. So
Anyway.
put them in the comments, and I'd appreciate it.
All right. And we will see you next Thursday.
Yep.
Have a wonderful week. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
And
Yeah.
I hope everybody's okay out there, and our hearts go out to everybody who's having problems.
Yeah.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.